Good afternoon. My name is Sheila Lamb, and I'm with the Virginia SBDC Network. For those of you that are not familiar with our organization, the Virginia Small Business Development Center is a partnership program between the U.S. Small Business Administration, George Mason University, and local host institutions throughout Virginia. With 26 locations across the Commonwealth, we provide training and technical assistance to small businesses in their local communities. Our one-on-one advising services are available at no charge. Today's webinar, Grow Your Business with Digital Marketing, is presented by the Virginia SBDC Network. Save the date for our next webinar in the Digital Bootcamp series, How to Manage Your WordPress website, on May 20th at noon. I'll drop that link into the chat momentarily. We are recording today's presentation and it will be posted on our website, virginiasbdc.org. Due to the large number of participants, everyone's microphone is muted and the chat feature is turned off. But if you have questions during the presentation, you can type those into the Q&A box, and we will adjust them at the end of the session. We've also enabled the live transcript function, which you can show or hide via your own meeting controls. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our presenter for today's session, Cameron Nelson, CEO of Tenzing Startup Consultants. Cameron has over 20 years of experience in technology and as a senior tech consultant in Silicon Valley, helping Fortune 500 companies improve their digital marketing and e-commerce. At the same time, he founded several tech companies, including a software as a service website for tree preservation and a blockchain platform for nonprofits. Cameron is accomplished in language, culture, has an MBA and MA, and believes new technology products have the ability to shape our world for the better. Please join me in welcoming our presenter for today, Cameron Nelson.
Thanks for the introduction. And hello, everybody. Welcome to this session on digital marketing. I see some familiar names in the attendees list, so welcome back. And for those of you who are attending for the first time, one of my presentations, welcome. I hope that this will be informative and teach you the latest techniques and strategies of how to use digital marketing for your small business or startup. A lot has changed in this space over the last couple of months. I've built and updated a couple new slides here, so this is a really relevant presentation. I'm going to be especially focusing on what some of the improvements AI brings to digital marketing, whereas a year or two ago, this wasn't even available. So a lot of exciting things happening in the digital marketing space, and I hope you find this very useful. At the end of the presentation, I'll be able to answer as many of your questions as I can, so feel free to go ahead and pop those into the Q&A box as we go, and we'll address those at the end. So with that, let's jump right into it. I wanted to start by discussing the top 5 reasons why you'd want to consider using digital marketing in your business today. I think predominantly businesses are using digital marketing over any other form of marketing in 2025. There's these 5 main reasons, and there's other reasons depending on your industry or the product you're selling that you might also find digital marketing is a great fit. The first reason that I see applicable to almost everybody here is that it has broad geographical reach. Because you're able to create an online advertisement or post on a social media network that reaches the entire globe, your content is visible regardless of your customer's location. However, if you want to restrict an ad you place and you're paying for to a certain zip code, city, county, or state, you can also do that. So you have a lot of flexibility in how you reach your target geographically speaking. And this isn't really possible with many forms of traditional advertising, especially at the low price point that digital marketing provides. Number 2 is its cost efficiency. I already mentioned that digital marketing has kind of a cost benefit over many traditional forms of marketing as you're trying to target geographically, but it offers a great flexible framework. So if you want to only spend $5 a day on an ad, you can absolutely do that. You can also pause, stop, and start new ads almost within a minute or two. So you have a lot of flexibility to get the most out of every marketing dollar you have. Number 3 is that digital marketing offers you quantifiable results. Many of the software platforms you'd be interacting with to do your digital marketing, whether those are social media platforms like Facebook or they're an ad platform like Google Ads, they're going to provide you with some analytics and data which give you results instantly about how well your ad is doing. Even if you're sending out emails in an email marketing campaign, you can see things like how many people converted and became a paying customer, how many opened an email, clicked on a link you had there, etc. So this access to real-time information is very, very valuable. And those businesses who are able to learn from these insights the most effectively tend to do really well with their digital marketing. Point number 4 is easier personalization. Studies have shown that about 80% of people prefer to receive emails start with a hello and their first name as opposed to a generic opening statement. And this is true in many forms of marketing. We prefer to have it personalized to us, whether or not it's our name or a product we previously looked at, and that's being suggested to us again. We see this all the time. If we browse a product on Amazon and then we're searching Google, maybe one of the ads we see on the side is that product we were looking at. And so this is all how the personalization works with digital marketing. Because companies are collecting data on your browsing habits, whether or not that's, a good or a bad thing, ultimately, they're using that data to personalize either their own platforms or other platforms where they sell the data to. So you can also use this feature of the internet with your own digital marketing. And it gives you the ability to present your customers with a product or a personalized message to help you increase your conversions. And lastly, there's easier conversions. So as I've mentioned conversions already, this is just the principle of someone who's not a customer becoming a customer, whether or not they're signing up for a monthly subscription you offer, buying a product one time, maybe they're a repeat customer. These all count as a conversion event. And customers can become a converted customer instantly with digital marketing because you can typically have a link to buy that product or service right there in the ad, right there on the email if you want it. So there's not a long sales cycle where you can often lose people if it's too lengthy of a sales cycle. So these are the top 5 reasons, and I'm going to dive deeply into each of these in the subsequent slides. Now, there's 4 tactics you can use to really accomplish your goals in digital marketing. The first tactic is going to be your social media and email marketing. So many of you have used these tools and strategies before. Maybe for some of you, this is the very first time. So this is useful when you want to increase your brand awareness and personalize your outbound marketing messaging. So personalizing your outbound marketing messaging. So if you have an email list and you're sending them a weekly or a monthly email, giving them updates on your product or maybe new products you're launching, you can really target and personalize with an email marketing campaign. So the social media and email marketing often go together, and I'll be talking about that in more detail. The second tactic you can use are running paid ads and SEO on your website. So paid ads allow you to post an ad on an ad networks, think of Google or Facebook, and you can also then link to your products for sale there. And search engine optimization is the art of making your website pages attractive to search engines so you appear there earlier in the results over your competitors. Using these tactics, you can optimize your website design and increase your rank in search results and increase your amount of online sales. The third tactic you should consider employing is affiliate marketing. I think often this is overlooked and most people focus on social media, email, ads, and SEO, but affiliate marketing is a great tool. In this scenario, you would find an influencer in your industry. It can be almost any industry I've ever seen has a trusted voice and that voice has a presence online. So if you contact them and arrange for an agreement where they will discuss your product because it appeals to their audience or because they're just interested in it, and maybe you give them a product for free for doing that, you will make that arrangement with them, but they will generate traffic and leads to your online store, and this will really help boost your digital marketing efforts. And the fourth tactic that shouldn't be overlooked is the analytics. This kind of ties everything together. Points 1 through 3. The analytics tell you how well you're doing by allowing you to measure your different data metrics and show where you're succeeding and also where you can improve your performance, because digital marketing is never a static marketing effort. You won't create a digital marketing strategy one year and use it the second year. It must change, and the analytics will guide you on how it should be changing so you can make the most of your time if you're doing free ads or free emails, or the most of your ad dollars if you're actually paying for paid ads or hiring a specialist to help you do SEO. And I'm going to show you the most useful analytical tools and techniques so you can make the most of that tactic as well. So let's talk a little bit more about number one, which was social media marketing. So why is social media marketing such a useful marketing tool in the digital space? There's three main reasons. The first one is that it can help you increase brand awareness, particularly useful if you're a small business without a lot of customer base, or you're a startup just creating a customer base. Social media marketing helps you boost your website traffic if you have your own website, because you can talk about the benefits of your brand, you can talk about your products, and you can get an online discussion going. Facebook has tools where people can comment on your post, Instagram does too, and it's very useful as a business owner to interact with your customers and have an online discussion, because you might find they would buy your product if only it was different in this way. The only way to find that out is by listening and talking back. And that's really useful to do. It's very easy to do with social media. And this has gained a lot of popularity because it's an effective way for attracting attention. You can create some catchy images or maybe a catchy video, and you can gain a lot of attention very quickly. And businesses of any size can use this for essentially free. It doesn't cost any money to make free posts on a platform. Secondly, social media marketing is really good because it provides a lot of built-in dashboards showing your analytics. This is really invaluable for gauging your effectiveness and how you're reaching your target market. For example, you might have a text post, an image post, and a video post on Facebook. You might see that one of those is getting a lot of attention, a lot of likes, a lot of forwarding to other people on the platform, and that really will show you in your industry what type of posts people are looking for and really engage with, so you can do more of those. And third, social media marketing helps you build trust and the dialogue, which I mentioned previously. Essentially, the more you interact with potential customers, the more you answer their questions, you're going to build trust. And by prioritizing relationship building on your platform over just immediately selling, you can have repeat customers that trust, rely on your products, and even share them with word of mouth to other people. So building the trust and having the dialogue is a critical element of effective digital marketing. So let's talk about the four main platforms right now for doing social media marketing. They are Facebook, X, which was previously Twitter, Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, and YouTube, which is owned by Google. So Facebook is a giant. It's the largest social media platform in the world, over 2.5 billion users last time I checked. It has a broad audience, and it's very diverse as far as income and geographical location. The primarily age between 25 and 34 is the primary user base of Facebook for looking for products to buy. Some of the other data out there shows a lot of Facebook users are a bit older, 55 and older. However, they're not typically the ones buying products there. So for your purposes, if you're selling online and your target audience is between 25 and 34, that's the group most active buying on Facebook. So the strengths with Facebook, it has a very high user engagement. Facebook has done a great job in keeping users on their website, whether it's the mobile app or the platform on a browser. And it also has an excellent way to tell your stories. You can have Reels, which is several little images or videos kind of put together to tell a story. And you can target advertise. So you can launch a Facebook ad. And there's some pretty advanced tools. And if you have more questions about Facebook ads, I can definitely talk about them at the end. But Facebook has a lot of tools that can help you if you're a beginner advertiser or you're advanced. Facebook will cater to you, help you have a sponsored ad, and help you reach your target customers. Second one is X. So formerly Twitter, purchased by Elon Musk a couple of years ago. This is a really good platform for real-time conversions. So data across all these platforms has shown people are a little bit more likely to just impulse buy when they see a product they want on the platform X. So if your product or service lends itself well to that kind of low price point, here's a quick and easy way to buy it. It's going to satisfy some need that user has really quickly, then impulse buys are good here. The audience on X is very wide ranging. And there's a big focus here on real-time events, right? Real-time news. So politicians use it, news outlets use it, people use it, and brands use it. And I think it's a really great platform for if you want to give quick updates, even multiple times a day, which can be exhausting for some business types. You just don't have the bandwidth to be posting on a social media platform 3, 4, 5 times a day, and that's completely fine. However, if you're in a business where you get those instant updates, let's say maybe you're leading like a youth summer camp or kayaking excursions on a river in Virginia, you might be getting great content multiple times every day. Well, you could just be creating little posts and putting those on your X account every single day. It also lets you develop your brand personality, and it's also good for soliciting customer questions, answering them, and providing some customer service. Third up is Instagram, which was purchased by Facebook. This is really a visual platform. So if you have image content first and foremost, if you have video content, that's also works very well here. It's not great if you're just going to be posting text. The audience here is young adults. Slightly more females use the platform, around 55 to 60% of the platform's daily users are females. So if your audience is primarily female, this could be a better place for you than some of the others. Some of the strengths are it's great for visual branding, for visual content. A lot of influencers use Instagram almost in every industry you can imagine, selling every product conceivable. So you can find someone who already has followers on Instagram and perhaps set up an affiliate situation with them. And I'll talk more about the different types of affiliates in a couple slides. This helps you engage with a younger demographic. Lastly is YouTube, which is obviously a video content platform. It's the leader in video content globally and for advertising with video content. Audience here is very broad and diverse. It doesn't really skew towards a certain income or geographical area. It is slightly leaning towards a younger audience, the more frequent users here. So think, 18 to 35. And this platform is really ideal if you have long form content. So if you have a video over 2 or 3 minutes, it's not going to be ideal to post on Instagram or Facebook. People there aren't really coming for long videos, though sometimes they can work, but people come to YouTube specifically for some longer videos. It could be tutorials. It could be product reviews. So YouTube is great if you have some video content for your business or you plan on creating it. So hopefully now you have some idea of which platform or platforms would be the best for you depending on your specific industry and the product that you're selling. Now let's shift a little bit and talk about email marketing. Email marketing is done by almost every business that I meet with through the SBDC. Even small businesses can start. There's a few tips and tricks when it comes to email marketing. I'll start with some of the pros and the things you should focus on. The first one is you should individualize the content of the message and the subject. And again, this is easily done if you have a mailing list you're building, or maybe you belong to an organization, you're able to acquire a mailing list of your target customers. They're often going to have the names broken down with the email addresses in an Excel sheet. You can import the data into a platform like MailChimp and then have it automatically personalize each email with the person's name. So it doesn't really take any more of your time. Secondly, you want to clearly state what kind of emails people are going to get if they sign up on your website. So often in a website, you see at the bottom or somewhere, sign up for our newsletter. You should include a sentence or two there saying you will receive a weekly email about the best, I don't know, maybe you're a camp counselor, the best ways to stay tick-free this summer and avoid allergens in the air or something that's going to get the attention of your target market. And you can change what types of emails you're going to say people will receive depending on the situation, but always say what they will be getting. That way they clearly understand it. Also, in your emails at the bottom, you need to have an unsubscribe link. That's just common practice now, and any major platform you use like MailChimp will build that in by default. You want to integrate a mix of transactional and promotional emails. So don't just have emails with a product and a link to buy it. You want to be providing useful information, tips and tricks, updates on something that's relevant to your target market. So they find this not just a promotional type of situation. And you want your prospects to see your campaign as a valued service. And that leads into this types of emails. Depending on, you can judge for yourself the right mix of a selling email versus an informational email, but typically around 3/4 should be just this informational. And it can be humorous, it can be very focused in data, whatever you want to do, but you shouldn't always be selling in every single email. You can incorporate things like marketing automation. So this will be particularly relevant if you're using a platform like MailChimp, which is the world's largest email marketing tool, which allows you to send to mass groups and get data back on who opened your emails and things like that. It will help you automate. And so I'd encourage you to make use of those tools, as it can help you actually conduct an effective marketing campaign with email without taking too much of your time. So here's some things that you shouldn't do. Don't use overhyped subject lines. And there's two reasons why. Because if you send an email with a subject line and then it has like 3 exclamation points or 5 exclamation points, it doesn't look professional necessarily, unless your target market likes that kind of thing. And I'm not sure many do. But more importantly is Google and the other email services out there see that as spam. And you're much more likely to get weird subjects with a lot of exclamation points or all capital letters sent right to somebody's spam folder. Don't send an email from an address that is just a no reply address. We see this a lot with big companies like Amazon or Google, where they couldn't possibly, or I guess they don't think they could possibly read all the emails people would reply when they send them out to people. So you basically always get a no reply from them. But as a small business, you want to encourage communication. So you want to send your emails from something like contact at your domain name. And you can check that so you can get people's questions, messages, and maybe it'll help you get some more sales and increase your conversion rate. Avoid sending emails that offer no value to the people reading them. Don't have too many call to actions in your email. This is essentially, what do you want that person to do? If you're selling a product in one of those emails, the obvious call to action is a link to the page where they can buy it. But if it's more of an informational post, you might say, and this topic was covered in the New York Times, and here's a link to their article on it, or some link to a site where they're going to find more information. It could go to a blog post you wrote as well. So having only one call to action per email is ideal. Next, you don't want an email that's too long. I think a page of text is, at this point in 2025, maybe even pushing it. You might consider about a half a page of single space text would be the maximum length of text in an email, and you can always include some images or even a video there too. You don't want to use an unsegmented email list, which would send irrelevant emails to some people. So to segment an email list, it's kind of like you have a group of customers and you're going to break that up into subgroups. Maybe it could be gender, maybe it could be age, maybe it could be the type of product you sell that they're interested in, whatever makes the most sense. And then you can have several different email segments in your program like MailChimp, and you can slightly customize the emails you send out to appeal better to those segments. Maybe it's the image you use, maybe it's the wording you use. And this is where the skill comes in with email marketing, is really understanding how to send to different segments effectively, but you can acquire that skill over time. But it is a mistake to not segment. I think every business benefits from segmenting an email list. The next thing not to do is forgetting to optimize it for mobile devices, because about 60, maybe 65% of emails are getting read on mobile devices now. So you can do this. This is a built-in feature if you're using a platform like MailChimp, so you don't really need to worry about it. But if you're at all concerned your email might not be working well on mobile, I suggest you send a test email to yourself and maybe a few other people. They can all check it on the mobile devices to make sure everything appears properly. You also don't want to send emails at the wrong time of day or sending too many emails. And I almost always get asked, well, what time of day is the best and how many emails is ideal? This depends a little bit on your industry, but at the end of 2024, the most recent data showed businesses typically sent about 1 email a day. A lot of small businesses. And I know it sounds like a ton, that's around 30 a month. The most effective businesses with the most effective email marketing was almost 1 a day. You don't need to include weekends. It's kind of up to you and your target market if that would be too much. But a lot of businesses do this and they find it works the best. If that's too much, you could send maybe 1 a week. and maybe even one a month. But probably if you're sending less than one a month, you're going to be forgotten about. And then people would, just not make the connection between you and that product they were looking at or that newsletter they signed up for, and you're much less likely to get sales. And as far as time of day goes, the typical rule of thumb is mornings work fairly well Monday through Friday between kind of 8 and 9 a.m. This is the time when people are generally kind of getting ready to go to work and they might have a few minutes to check on emails. At work is generally a bad time, but between 5 and about 7 p.m. is also another fairly good time of the day. And again, this does depend on your industry. So learn what you can about the habits of your target buyers, and this can also inform what time of day is best for you. And lastly, don't ignore the analytics. You will be able to see how many people open your different emails, how many read them to the end, how many people click on the link or maybe buy a product. So all of this is very useful information as you continue to optimize your email marketing campaign. The second tactic to be effective, have an effective digital marketing campaign is running paid ads. This isn't a mandatory step by any means, but a lot of businesses feel like they want to accelerate their online sales, and so they see paid ads as the most logical way to do that. And I think for the most part, that's true. Paid ads, sometimes called pay per click or PPC, is creating an ad on a network, and you pay every time somebody clicks on it. So the largest networks are Google, Microsoft, YouTube, which is owned by Google, so they're kind of rolled into one. Facebook and Instagram are one. You can also have ads on LinkedIn, Twitter, or X, and even Pinterest. So these are some of the ad networks you can consider. No matter which ad network you decide to use, these are the 4 factors that the algorithm uses to decide whether or not your ad will be shown at any given time. The first one is your ad quality. So this is similar to an email subject line. Do you use a lot of exclamation points? Are you using all caps? Do you have proper spelling? You want to make sure that this is proper grammar, and that will give you a high ad quality score. The second factor is keyword relevance. So the algorithm on, say, Google will look at your ad and match up keywords and phrases with a search term somebody put in. Knowing what people are going to be searching for when you want them to find your product is critical when creating the text of your ad, because you only have a few sentences. Every word has to count. There's a few tools you can use to learn about search word trends and find similar search words. So you can use some of those tools to help you write the ads and have high keyword relevance. The third factor is the landing page quality. So every ad is going to have a website that it goes to. This can be your home page, but most likely it'll be a specific product page or a page describing your services. That page needs to be well structured to have a high landing page quality. So it can't have spelling errors or grammar errors. It can't have obnoxious all capital headlines. It's going to be looked at very thoroughly by the search engines and to say, well, is this a high quality web page or not? They're also going to look at, well, does it meet mobile standards? Is it visible on mobile devices, or is it missing code that makes it work on mobile? So a lot of factors go into the landing page quality. And lastly is the bid amount. So because you pay Google or Facebook only when somebody clicks on your ad, you are able to bid a higher amount if you want your ad to have a higher chance of showing up, but you pay more for that click. So the general range is somewhere between 30 and about 60 cents per click, and it varies based on your industry. And if you want to have a higher chance of your ad appearing, you can say, I will bid $1 or $2. And it's not even uncommon to see $5 or $10 ad clicks where industries really demand that. So maybe you're a car dealership and your value per customer is huge because they're buying maybe a $30,000 car. So you don't care that you spend $10 per click because it makes it worthwhile for you. But a lot of businesses, that's not the case. And so you want to bid as little as possible, and you rely on your ad quality, keyword relevance, and landing page quality to give your ad relevance and have it show up. So that's a quick rundown of the ads criteria that the algorithm looks at. If there's any deeper questions, feel free to ask at the end of the presentation. The next area is search engine optimization. This is particularly relevant on your website and even relevant if you have products listed on an external e-commerce platform like Shopify or Etsy. You can still use these same techniques. So SEO provides you with increased traffic to your web pages, and it requires you to research and weigh different factors to achieve the highest possible ranking. So unlike paid ads, this gives you completely free visitors to your products. So it's much cheaper if you can do it right because you don't pay for these visitors. There's four elements to consider strongly when optimizing your SEO. The first one is the quality of the content. So again, the what's on the website matters. The text you use and the relevance of the keywords you use with the search terms, it's got to match up with the search terms, and the page has to be a high quality page that works on mobile. The second factor that impacts SEO is the level of user engagement. So you might not know that Google and Microsoft and a lot of the major search engines can track how long people spend on different web pages. And so if they see people are leaving your web page on average after 2 seconds or 3 seconds, it's going to tell them that users or people aren't finding your website useful. They're leaving very quickly. It's going to be a poor level of user engagement. However, if Google sees people spend 5 minutes or 10 minutes on your website, they go to multiple pages, they watch a video, they interact with it, they fill out a form. Google can tell a lot of information, and they'll say, oh, wow, that's a high level of user engagement compared to the similar websites in this industry. It's going to help boost your SEO. Third is your web page mobile friendly? And so if you're, again, if you have a product page on Shopify or Etsy, those platforms are already making those pages mobile friendly. So you don't need to worry about it. But if you have your own website and it's a bit older, maybe it could be losing its ability to work on some mobile devices. As different phones and operating systems get upgraded, the code required to make a website work on these newer devices, it changes over time. So a web page from the last 2, maybe 3 years should be fine, but a web page that's 3 years or older might be running into issues. You can have a website analyst or an expert come in and look and tell you how mobile friendly your website is and suggest ways to optimize it if it's an older site. And the fourth factor determining your SEO score is the number and the quality of inbound links to your website. So the way the search engines see it is your site a reliable and authoritative source of information on your space, in your space, right? In your industry or in your product space. So if you don't have any links to your website from other sources, it kind of tells the search engine algorithm, well, this site is not an authoritative source. Whereas if you have 10 or 20 or 30 links from other sites that have a lot of traffic and they're point to your site, it really tells those search engines, wow, this website is popular, it is trusted, it is liked, and it boosts your SEO score. So these are the four main factors that determine your website SEO. And again, it's free visitors, it's free online sales if you can do these right, and you won't have to run paid ads as much. Well, sometimes I get asked, let's go a little bit deeper into how to create a good website SEO. So here's a short, very short step-by-step guide. Website SEO can be a week-long or a month-long process. And so I don't expect everybody to be experts after just seeing a couple slides about it. But this gives you the basics. And if you've never done SEO before, it'll give you some tips and tools you can use to get going. The first one is keyword research. So the action you want to take here is to identify keywords people are going to be searching for. And you're going to put those words multiple times on your website and the pages. In the headers, it is counted more than in the paragraph text. So the most important keywords should go in with the biggest font size, essentially. And Google and the other search engines see that, recognize that, and rank it accordingly. You can use tools like Google Keyword Planner or SEMrush to see what keywords are relevant in your industry. And there might be a related keyword. So maybe you sell animal products mainly for dogs. Well, maybe, canine is a relevant word in that industry, and you had forgotten to include that word on your website. So these tools will help you find those related words that people might be searching for, so you don't lose that traffic. Secondly is on-page SEO. So this is when you go and you craft your website. As I mentioned, the titles of the page, the biggest font, this matters more than the little letters and when it comes to ranking. But you obviously can't overdo it. You can't have gargantuan long titles, both it looks bad, but the search engines then see that and they think, oh, something fishy is going on. So they want to see just normal short titles, normal paragraph lengths. So you need to be very specific on which words you put there. You can also edit some things like meta descriptions and header tags, some more of the code in the back end of your website to improve your on-page SEO. Third is the content quality. High quality and relevant content. So this both helps when the search engines are looking at grammatical errors or spelling errors to making sure that it's crystal clean, but also it'll help boost your audience retention rate on your website because they're going to be getting more valuable information in an easier to read and understand format. But also nothing, I would say in industries, generally things never stay static, so you should update your content, not too frequently, but depending on your industry, every month to every 6 months. It wouldn't be a bad idea. You don't lose your search ranking by updating content. You would, and I get asked this question sometimes, but you reset your search ranking if you get a new domain name, typically. So let's say you had domain mybusiness.com, and then you decided after a few years to change it to mybetterbusiness.com. The issue is it's kind of starting over from scratch. Now, there are a few techniques you can use to try to tell the search engines, hey, it's the same website with a different name. Those don't always work 100%, but changing just the text on an existing domain name will not lower your search ranking that you build up over time. And point number 4 is the page load speed. If you have an image that's very large, let's say you took an image with your cell phone, it's a 10 megabyte image, you put it on your website without shrinking or optimizing it, that's going to be a very large image indeed. And search engines will see that as kind of a red flag because people on slower internet connections would have a difficult time loading your web page with images like that. So you want to make sure you optimize any images that go on your web page. Typically 100 to 200 kilobytes is just fine. They don't need to be much bigger than that. And some more advanced techniques would be things like browser caching and reducing redirects, which can help increase your page load speed. Again, you can hire an expert who can give you a detailed analysis of your website on this, and you can look at tools like Google Page Speed Insights, which will give you recommendations on how to increase your page speed. So that's a quick 4-step introduction to some of these tools and techniques you can use if you want to get started working on your web page SEO. So the third tactic for having a successful digital marketing strategy in 2025 is consider affiliate marketing. It's not the right fit for every business or every product, but it has some real strong pros and is often overlooked. So affiliate marketing is the technique of using like an influencer in your field and compensating them in some way for mentioning your product, whether it's a full review or just maybe tagging it in a post, a very quick. These influencers can be people like celebrities, a trusted voice in your industry, or another expert. Some of the pros of using affiliate marketing is it gives you a very quick access to a large market. That's your target market. So if you're creating a social media account today, it could take you a month to gain 100 followers. And that's if you're active, frequently active. And so you could be looking at several months before you have 1,000 followers, and it can be a slow grinding process. Whereas if you compensate an affiliate who has already, let's say, 100,000 or 500,000 followers, you get that instant access to a very large market that's your ideal market for your product. And because they're an ideal market for you, it gives you the qualified leads to your website and product. So you're going to have a higher conversion rate typically than with a more generic market. And considering paid ads and hiring somebody to do advanced SEO, affiliate marketing can be a surprisingly low-cost alternative to those. So I encourage you not to overlook it. However, it's not without its drawbacks as well. And some of the main cons that I've experienced is that affiliate marketing can be subject to fraud. You're not necessarily going to have an ironclad guarantee that they'll uphold their end of the contract or the bargain. You have less creative control because they're not an employee directly or anything like that. So they might end up saying something negative about your product, which you didn't like. And also, it could be vulnerable to theft, especially if you're providing products for review. And let's just say the understanding is they're going to return it and they don't. You could be in that situation. One example of the largest affiliate program is the Amazon Associates affiliate program. And the way this works is you'll see a lot that there'll be reviews of products. Let's say you're looking for a digital alarm clock. If you Google that, the most likely thing you're going to see is a website that you've maybe never heard of, and they're going to review the top 10 digital clocks of 2025. And they're going to have a picture and a description and what they like about it and what they don't. And then they're going to have a link to buy on Amazon. So they're all Amazon associates, and they're getting paid through the affiliate program, and they get paid like 4 or 5% of that sale price. So it's a very common thing. Amazon uses it at a huge scale, but that's just an example of what an affiliate program kind of can build out and can look like in some situations. Now, there's 3 different types of affiliates, and I want to quickly go through them because if you're thinking about using an affiliate, they might ask which of these 3 you're planning on pursuing, which of these 3 kind of relationships. So the first one is an unattached affiliate. And this type of person really has no connection or authority in the niche of your product or industry. So they're going to be someone who you think might be beneficial, but generally speaking, they're the least influential with your target market. The second type is a related affiliate who can promote products that they have a connection to, but they're not necessarily going to use it and give a full review. So an example could be, a fitness blogger promoting a brand of sports equipment. They're not necessarily going to be endorsing it. And the third level is an involved affiliate. These people have extensive experience with your type of product, and they're probably going to use it and talk about their experience. So this is like a review. And this could be a vlogger demonstrating a beauty product that they have personally used. We've seen this a lot. Almost every industry can do this. And so with an involved affiliate, you obviously have a more intimate connection with that person. You're relying on what they're saying a lot because what they say could really hurt your brand. If they've got a big following and they say something negative, now you could instantly have lost a lot of people who you wanted to buy your product. So you do have to trust these people more. And generally, of course, you will have to compensate the higher levels of affiliate more. The fourth tactic is analytics. And I call this kind of tying it all together and wrapping it up because all of the strategies we've talked about provide you with some data. And here are the 6 main types of data that you should be looking at and understanding as you go through a digital marketing campaign and kind of this journey of evolving it over time. The first piece of the puzzle is the traffic sources. This will tell you where your visitors are coming from, whether it's to an ad, who's looking at your ad, whether it's to a Facebook page or your website. They'll tell you if they're direct visitors, which generally come from a link you sent out in an email, for example, if they're coming from a direct link, an organic search visitor, which you got through SEO because they typed in a search term and they clicked on your website, you didn't pay for that. And third is referrals. So generally like affiliate marketing traffic would be a referral. The second piece of data you want to be tracking is page views. It measures the number of times a user has loaded the pages on your website and which pages get loaded the most. So if you have 10 products and you notice 1 or 2 of them are getting a ton of traffic, it'll give you a very clear idea of what's popular and what's not. You can maybe have a paid ad for these popular products to sell more. You could maybe remove products that aren't being visited and not being bought. So you can look at the page views for this. You might also see there's problems on your website. If you have a page that has a lot of views, but you're getting very few purchases of a product from that page, there could be some issue. People are going there, but they're dissuaded from purchasing it. Well, why? Maybe you have an image to the wrong product there. Maybe your description is confusing, or maybe there's a broken link somewhere. Number 3 is the average session duration. So generally, the better users experience, the more useful they find your website, they're going to spend more time on it. And this tells search engines that your website is good, that it increases your SEO. And also, you're just more likely to get a higher conversion rate because people who leave a website after 2 or 3 seconds are never going to buy a product from that site. The way to increase session duration is do things like post really useful information about a problem that your product is solving. Have an engaging images or videos, maybe demonstrating the product. Maybe you have some video reviews. Maybe you have text testimonials. All of these things can be useful and help increase the session duration. Number 4 is the bounce rate. And this is a percentage of the people who leave your site after viewing only one page and only for a few seconds. So this is a very negative metric. And if your bounce rate is high, then search engines will see that and say, whoa, this is a website has some problems. People don't like it, and they're going to really decrease your SEO score. It might indicate your content, strategy, images, videos, something is just not matching with the visitors coming to your site. So you can work on improving that. Number 5 is the exit rate. And this shows what pages of your website people leave from, meaning, they navigate to another web page or they close that browser tab, they're leaving the page. And ideally, you want this to be from a checkout page. They bought a product, they're done interacting with your site, they close it. If you notice people are leaving your page from unusual or unexpected places, it can indicate where you might have some problems or you might need to work on the content of certain pages. And number 6 is the conversion rate, the percentage of website visitors who act on your conversion goal. Generally speaking, this would be making a purchase, but you could want them instead to sign up for a newsletter. I've worked with some businesses and startups who are developing a product and they're not ready to sell it yet, but they still want people to engage on their website. They want to build a following, they want to build a community, and they want people to sign up for the newsletter to do that. So that would be the conversion they're looking to track. And your conversion goals can change, of course, month to month if you have a different goal you want to track. So paying attention to these 6 is the minimum, I would say, people as a business owner should be learning about and paying attention to if they're planning on really having an effective digital marketing campaign and effectively sell their products online. So not everybody has seen a dashboard which will show website analytics. This is one that's very similar to what you'd see in Google Analytics, which is a free website analytics platform you can sign up for. There's a lot of information here. I'm going to walk through a few of the key areas that you'd want to pay attention to as you're looking at this data to understand it. The first one here outlined in red is the sessions. You can see there's this wavy line, the dates across the bottom, and this particular website has had dips down to 0 sessions per day. And again, a session is someone going to the website. You can have one user and they could have multiple sessions if they come back to the website time and time again. So this isn't users, this is just the number of sessions. And they've had 741 total sessions in this time span, looks like the month of January. So this will be very useful and relevant for you to see trends. If you launch an email marketing campaign or a paid ad, you would expect to see a surge in sessions following that. If you don't, it would indicate something is wrong with that ad. The next area down here on the bottom outlined in red is the average engagement time. Again, this is going to be a metric used to see how long people have spent on average. In this example, 30 seconds. Now, you might think that was good, you might think that was bad. It depends on your industry and what you're selling. So I think 30 seconds isn't really good or bad. That's kind of in the middle for most people. Obviously, 2 or 3 seconds is bad. Several minutes is generally good. So the higher the engagement time, the better. And no matter, you might not know what would be good for you right now, and that's fine. The main thing here to look at is if you see this report once a week or once a month, you want to follow the trends. Is your session engagement time going up or is it going down? So you can always start with where you are and then improve it from there. The next area to look at is the average engagement time. This is about how long certain individuals spend on the website, not necessarily the number of the length of each session. So closely related metric. The one below, 931 conversions this month. So it indicates that this particular website had a 931 people who made the conversion goal, which again could be buying a product, signing up for a newsletter, or something else. So again, if you have a big push one month and you have a large marketing ad budget, let's say you spend $1,000 on Google Ads, you're really hoping, boy, I hope I get 500 more conversions than normal this month. You can see what you got last month and see what you got the month you ran the ad to see how effective that ad was in actually getting you those conversions you paid for. And next is the sessions and where these people came from. So you can see that's color-coded and broken down into different categories. 40 people came from emails. Generally, this is your emails you sent out with a link to the website. They got 40 people from referrals. This could have been like an affiliate referral. They had 37 through paid search, so ads. 35 from an other source. You're always going to see other. You get this when people have maybe disabled ad tracking on their phone or computer, or somehow blocked the data gathering. So the Google Analytics just doesn't know, so they say other. You have some direct users. These are people who probably bookmarked or favorited your page and just clicked on the bookmark to come to it. Social media users, display, and organic search. Organic search, again, is those who came with your SEO. So on this site, the SEO and organic search is the lowest of all of these. Generally speaking, I mean, it depends on your industry, but you want organic search to be as high as possible because you're doing little work for getting these users. So if they're making up 50% of your sessions and your user total for a month, that's probably really good. So you'd want to encourage and grow that organic search to be as big as possible. Now, as I hinted at, AI has come a long way in helping you accomplish these tasks. These are 4 tools which are very helpful as you build or start your digital marketing campaign. And before I jump into talking about these 4, I'll mention that I also lead an AI bootcamp on how you can use AI for your business. And we talk a lot about digital marketing. So that's an entire session devoted to AI tools and examples. So if you want more, check out the Virginia SBDC calendar and see when the next session on that topic is. And I encourage you all to come to that. So there's 4 tools here that are really good AI tools and in different areas to help you with different aspects of a digital marketing campaign. The first one is probably also the best known. It's ChatGPT, created by the company OpenAI. This is great for content writing, whether it's an email newsletter, it's a blog post, it's a Facebook post, it's an X post. It's great at helping you write your content quickly and efficiently. And brainstorming topic ideas, brainstorming what's exciting in your industry, maybe even brainstorming what new products you could launch. Some of the pros of using ChatGPT is it has excellent language quality. It's just so natural to ask questions to. You don't need to word them super specifically, and it responds with excellent answers written to a very high standard of English language. It's very fast. It's versatile, and it's also free. You can use it on a free tier. And recently, you don't even need to make an account. You can just go to the website, chatgpt.com. You can actually use it for free. So that's really nice. Some of the cons, though, it needs fact checking. Because it's writing content, it might be pulling facts from the internet page that had the facts wrong. And so every now and then you might see a fact it says it very confidently, like, hey, this is the truth, but in fact it was completely wrong. And it doesn't happen much, but I think on sensitive facts you would want to double check them still. And it's not going to know your business model or your business goals or the context unless you tell it about your business, unless you train it in a sense. And this is true for any of these, but say you're selling animal products, maybe you're specializing in dog collars, but maybe your business has a niche. Maybe they're handmade out of Peruvian llama leather, let's say. if you just say, make me a blog post talking about my dog collar business, it's not going to know those details that it's made from the Peruvian llama leather. And it's not going to really appeal to your target market because you didn't train it enough. So the more you train it, the more you give it those details about your product and your business, the better it's going to be. So just keep it in mind. The second AI helper here is called Jasper AI. And Jasper excels on copywriting and helping you think of a comprehensive marketing campaign that you can use for digital marketing. It's really useful in helping you build out a brand personality, and it can help you with customer service interactions, like responding to queries and complaints. It can help give you suggestions on what you can write back. It only has a paid tier, so there's no free version. And without editing its information about your business and kind of filling in some of the specific details, it can sound a bit formulaic. It can sound a bit boilerplate. The third one is Midjourney, and this one's specifically for image generation. And so this is probably the forerunner in AI image generation, creating photorealistic, lifelike images, cartoon images, whatever you might need. So for your visual branding, it's really good. It can be useful if you're trying to generate content to give to an influencer for collaborating. So maybe you want some posts, pictures of AI models or people using a product to provide to the influencer. You can whip those up very quickly in Midjourney. And I think overall, younger demographics are less hesitant about seeing AI images used in advertising than older demographics. The studies have shown that younger people just aren't as turned off by it, whereas some older generations are. So again, if targeting to an older generation, maybe AI images are not the way to go. But with younger people, it's generally better. And some of the cons are that Midjourney is used through another platform called Discord. So you have to create a separate account, interact with it through Discord, which can kind of be off-putting. And you kind of have less control over revision. So if you have an image that's almost perfect, but you want a little change here or there, you don't really have the ability to make these subtle changes without sometimes redoing the whole image, and then it's not what you wanted. And the fourth item here is Surfer SEO. So again, this is the search engine optimization. And this helps you specifically with your search engine optimization, doing some analysis, giving you some insights, and helping you write and rewrite the text on your website. So when we see the term long form content, what we're talking about here is not the title on a website, which is short. We're talking about a sentence or a paragraph, long words, long form. And Surfer is specifically designed to help you analyze and rewrite your long form content and to really help dial that in for the SEO in your target market. And there's a lot of SEO tools out there. Some have been around for 5 years or longer. SEMrush is one I mentioned up above, and that's a very full suite of SEO tools. Does a lot of stuff. Surfer doesn't have the full set of SEO tools. It's really meant for helping you rewrite your long form content. And so it's, if you're looking for more comprehensive tools, maybe the keyword search tool that finds relevant keywords, it's not really going to have that. And so it's more of a specialized tool. And it really works the best with human-made content. So sometimes you might have ChatGPT make some content, and if you have another AI look at content that AI wrote in the first place, the results are less than stellar. So again, if you've written this, it's human written, then Surfer does a really good job at doing the analysis and providing some recommendations to help you rewrite that. And I talk to businesses, and businesses come to this presentation who are selling B2B, business to business, B2C, business to consumer, and also sometimes B2G, business to government. And while as the B2G is relatively few in number, I did want to talk a little bit about B2B versus B2C selling with digital marketing, because there are some relevant differences here to be aware of. With B2B clients, you generally have a longer decision-making process because your business is selling to their business, and their business is your target buyer. So there's multiple people involved, generally speaking. you need to spend more time building relationships. It's not going to be a quick sale. Whereas with B2C, those consumers and customers tend to respond better to a short-term offer or a message, posted on the platform X. You're going to be more likely to get the quicker conversions with B2C. B2B transactions and the sales cycle tends to be based on logic and evidence. So you want to have data backing up why your product's better. You want to have white sheets, white papers, data sheets. You want a lot of data and evidence, whereas B2C sales and the content you need is more emotionally based. It makes somebody feel good. It relieves their pain. It makes you happy. That's a simple message, right? And we see that all the time with B2C sales. And so this is also the tactic that works on digital marketing, of online marketing. It's about emotions with B2C, and with B2B, it's about logic and evidence. And in the B2B sales cycle, to make the buying decision usually takes more than just one person's say so. And so the marketing materials that you need that drive the decisions could be downloadable and shareable, a PDF, a presentation file, an Excel file, things like that. Whereas a B2C sales, they're not really interested in that. They just favor a quick, that emotional connection, but having also some sort of a connection with the brand. What's your mission? Are you planting trees? Are you, helping stray dogs? Whatever it is, the B2C customer wants the connection, wants the emotional connection. So that's a really quick summary of how to be effective digitally marketing with these two different segments. If you have any further questions on that, I'd be happy to talk with you and try to answer them. I presented a lot of different information today. We spanned different tactics, we spanned different tools, and a lot of information. So how do we wrap all of this up so you don't feel overwhelmed, so you have a good place to start? First off, I think digital marketing is a good thing to pursue for your online business because it gives you insight into your customers' likes and their preferences, into their buying habits, into what on your website is working and not working, and how to better target your customers with outbound marketing with email campaigns. So I want to leave you with 2 tips. The first one is to stay active. The AI tools I described, some of them have just been out a few months and others just a few years. So this is a very rapidly evolving space. Continue to learn in this space, attend presentations, attend seminars. You can watch new YouTube videos posted by content creators talking about how to use Jasper AI, and they just posted it a week ago, right? It's going to be very relevant and fresh. So research and study. Talk to other business owners about how they're using digital marketing, and talk to leaders in your industry. If there's a business that you want to emulate, that you really look up to, research and see what they're doing with their online marketing, right? Do they have a presence on social media? Do they have a paid ad? Are they on YouTube? Do they have video content? Maybe you can talk to somebody there and learn a little bit about their strategy and how they go about executing it. And tip number 2, you might not want to do everything I just outlined. You might not want to do paid ads, social media, website SEO, affiliate marketing. It might be too much to take on. So where do you start? Well, I think you know your business more and better than anybody. So start with your gut instinct. What does your gut tell you to do? Your intuition probably is going to be your best guide here to start and also to expand your digital marketing. And a lot of businesses are surprised with how successful their early efforts can be. So you shouldn't be hesitant to start. You got to start somewhere. And also learn from your data. All those analytical tools and the 6 analytical areas I said to pay attention to, look at them, learn from them, and adapt over time. They'll tell you how to modify your strategy. And you can think of new and creative ways to market to your customers online. So I hope that it's been a useful intro to the wide world of digital marketing, and I'm certainly happy to answer as many of the questions that you have as we can get through this session. And I thank you all for attending.
Thanks, Cameron. We do have a couple questions that have dropped in. Let's see, starting back with first one to Ben. Okay, so this attendee says they have a monthly newsletter. It has all the information the upcoming month that's coming up in the upcoming month, and they tried to keep the email to a minimum, so they don't over spam, so the number of emails. So this means that this one they send out is a 2-pager. So their question is, do you suggest breaking this down to a 1-pager? Let's see. Oh, so we're doing it 1 per week with just a couple items, which would increase the number of times they send out. They just don't like
Yeah.
spam, and they're afraid that with frequent emails that, it's
Yeah.
people are gonna unsubscribe.
Yeah, I understand. It's a great question. You want to send a 1 month longer email or 4 month shorter emails? I would say it depends a lot on your target market, your industry, and who these people are. So maybe if it's an academic market and they're used to reading long, lengthy papers once a month and having a longer, it'd be fine. Whereas if it's a person who doesn't have much time, they're generally not going to be reading a lengthy email, so they might prefer the shorter version and more frequent. The only really way to know with your case is to test it and to see. So one thing I'd like you to check on is look at your open rate of the emails you've been sending out historically. So if you've been sending them out through MailChimp or some other system like that, you can see those analytics. Maybe your open rate, let's just say, was 20%, okay? And the number of people who finished reading your emails was 10%. So that's your kind of baseline. And then you just need to experiment. Just try sending out 4 a month, shorter ones, and see, well, does your open rate go down after a couple months? Does the number of people who read to the end go down, or does it get better? And then also look at website visitors. So presumably you're having a link to go to a page on your website. Let's look and see if the percentage of website visitors from your emails increases or decreases with the change. Until you experiment, you just don't know for sure. But I think if you look at that data and you take those experiments, you'll be able to learn for yourself what works the best.
Let's see. Do you have any examples of highly effective small business websites? They're asking if you have any links you could share of a business you feel does a really good job with their landing page, etc.
That's a great question. I mean, I work on a lot of business websites, but generally speaking, they're under confidentiality, so I'm not really able just to share them. I would have to Google and kind of look up what some of the best small business websites are, so I don't really have that information readily available. I suggest you would look. There's probably um, companies that have maybe rated or reviewed small business websites, and they might have an angle. Probably they're trying to sell you their product, so take whatever they say with a grain of salt. But I think the trends are, just generally speaking, shorter amounts of text on websites than in previous years. Of course, very mobile friendly because a lot of people are on mobile devices. More of a minimalist approach. So colors are kind of whites, blacks, grays, maybe a little bit more muted, not really vibrant colors. Um, that can change based on your industry, but also images and video. Every year we see the website multiple images and multiple videos, or at least one video, it increases. So video and image content is getting increasingly important. The amount of text is decreasing. So those are just some rough trends, but I don't have specific examples. I think if you Google it, you can see and look at 10 or 20 and can kind of get an estimate in your mind of the things that are looking good. Also, of course, if you're going to build a new website, you want to hire a developer, a designer, they're going to have um, examples probably that they're going to be able to show or at least guide you in deciding the best layout for you based on trends. So that's something that could be done one-on-one in a kind of a consulting situation.
Let's see, if you can't get Google to approve your business account, what's the easiest way to resolve that issue? It says we keep being suspended for deceptive content. If your Google business profile is suspended, does SEO matter?
So great questions. I don't know why Google would be mad at your content. They have policies and guidelines, and sometimes they're pretty vague, and they have a lot of leeway in how they, interpret those. So the only way to get answers to that would be to keep talking to Google and try to get them to answer what you can change. There must be something they're flagging, is inappropriate. I just don't know. I don't know their policies in that much depth. But even if so, it sounds like they probably banned your maybe ad account, right? And your SEO is still very important. So even if Google says you can't run ads right now because we don't like the content, your SEO is, as far as I know, is unaffected by Google maybe banning your ads. I'm not 100% sure because Google doesn't necessarily disclose their exact formula in determining SEO. That's kind of their secret algorithm, and they can change it whenever they want. So they might say, we didn't like this business's ads. We are going to penalize their SEO, but they might not be doing that. And there's no way for us to really know. And I doubt they would ever tell you that because that's kind of a secret part of their algorithm. But you still need to work on SEO, obviously. Even if ads are not working, it's even more important. So looking at the tools I suggested or meeting with an SEO professional to help analyze it for you is necessary. But also, even if Google has banned your ads, Facebook is completely different. And Facebook might say, we'll do those ads. So look at the other ad networks. And if one is not, playing nice with you, don't feel like you're stuck with that. I think you do have the other options.
So this attendee did go on to say that it's not their ads account, just their Google business profile. And they've been trying to get this worked out since February, no support.
So
There's
Google
no support
Business,
line for Google.
all right, thanks. So Google Business Profile, it generally means like your business's presence on Google Maps. It would show up and you can have reviews of your business associated with your Google Business Profile, and you have like your opening hours and stuff like that. So if Google doesn't like your Google Business Profile, I don't believe that'll impact your SEO. I don't see why it would, but I can't say for 100% because probably only somebody inside Google could say for sure. But yeah, I'm sorry. I don't have information on how to resolve some internal conflict with Google. Just keep following up, try to escalate it to somebody with more authority, and hopefully they can help you get it resolved.
Let's see. What type of businesses could be hired to monitor and summarize analytic data for my business?
Yeah, so it's something that I do for small businesses I work for and consult for. It's a matter of generally having the right analytical tools installed, right, to collect the data. And then it's looking at weekly or monthly reports and then pulling out the relevant information and finding patterns and trends and then giving suggestions on what you need to be fixing. Every business website is different. So some have problems in one area, some have problems in another. So finding, an SEO analyst or expert, or contacting the SBDC, and there's several people at the SBDC who have that in their skill set. You can also, if you want to look for a freelancer, then you can look at the platform Upwork.com, and again look for SEO analyst, SEO expert, SEO consultant, and they should all have access to the tools and various levels of knowledge to analyze the data and help you make the best decisions.
So next attendee's question is, they're wondering if they even need a website. They use Graphy or Kajabi since they seem to do all sorts of marketing plus host courses and allow the sale of products. Do you recommend having a website? But is it necessary if
Right.
you're using those?
Yeah, I'm familiar with Kajabi. And for those who don't know, Kajabi is a platform that you can build a website on, but it also does your digital marketing. It helps you sell online courses. So it does a lot, and I've used it. So it sounds like you're using Kajabi, you have your online courses listed, but you don't necessarily have your own dedicated website. I think, building a website takes some time and money for sure. So if you're doing okay listing your courses and you're advertising somewhere else and you don't feel the need to have a website right now, then you can probably not build one out. But if you're struggling to attract customers or have a high conversion rate, and it might be because there's not enough information about your company online, and then having your own website would really help because you can have more words, you can have images, you can have a profile on yourself or more information about the courses or whatever you need to make that sale. So it's just depending on where you are in your business and how you feel a website would help you succeed.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, a follow-up to the earlier question with the issues with Google. This attendee is asking if you have any advice for service-based businesses. They don't have a physical location, so maybe could that be the issue with Google, do you think?
So they don't have a location? Is
It
that?
says we don't have a physical location. They're a service-based business. They don't have a physical location.
Okay. Well, when I hear service-based, I think it's like a hair salon or something which has a physical location. But okay, so it's a service space without a physical location.
Right.
As far as I know, Google for Business is primarily how you get listed on Google Maps, and you
They're
do
a
need a
handyman service.
handyman service. Yeah, so they go out.
Yeah.
So because the only location you could list is probably your house or your residence. Some people do that. You know, you see small businesses that list their house on Google Maps. There's a couple in my neighborhood, but customers don't come to their house, right? Like in your business. And so that's one option. I've seen it frequently that you would have a home address listed on Google Maps with a business name. Um, but if you don't want your home address listed, you cannot get on Google Maps. You do need a physical address. It can't be a PO box or anything like that. So maybe you got flagged because Google thought you were giving them an address that wasn't a physical address. They do check those things pretty carefully. So that's just one idea. I'm not quite sure why they're denying you or flagging you, but could be it.
Okay. There's an attendee who says they're in a similar situation with a service-based outdoor adventure guide business. Says you can set a boundary on Google Maps. So maybe that helps. So we have another question. Let's see. The question is, I am a longtime journalist and multimedia professional, and they love the content that was offered here. A quick question, have just started an advertising, or I'm not sure if that's, but a corporate filmmaking company. What would be the best strategy to follow while tapping the potential clients?
That sounds like you're probably a B2B sales situation if you're making videos for corporations, sounds like. So then I think if it is a B2B sale, then some of the tactics I listed on the previous slide would be relevant, such as that you would want to back up your sales pitch with data. So maybe, 75% of corporations who hired you to make videos last year saw a increase in revenue directly tied to the video, right? Whatever data points you can offer based on your results, those are particularly useful when you're sending out marketing messages to a B2B situation, and all the other suggestions I listed on that slide. And by the way, the entire presentation here will be emailed out to everybody. So if you didn't write something down or don't remember it, it's okay because you will get this in a day or two.
Okay, so, and they've gone on to say it's an ad making business. So
Ad making for other businesses, I think,
I'm
B2B,
thinking, yes.
I think. So
Let's see.
recommendation is still the same.
Yeah, I would think so too.
Yeah.
So back to the Google Maps thing. So the person who you can just have a service area show up. So Emily had asked the question earlier. So Emily, if that helps, that you can just go in and on business and Google Maps and just have a service area show up, not an actual address.
Yeah,
Let's see.
I love people the answers. I hope it was helpful.
I know. Here you go. Can you speak on geo-targeting?
Yeah, so geo-targeting, geographical targeting, is mainly used in ads. So it's very relevant, kind of like what we're talking about. If you're a handyman service and you only want to serve the county that you live in, you're not willing to travel further. If you have an ad running, you can absolutely specify where it's shown, because Facebook or Google, they know based on people's IP addresses of their phone or their computer where they are. So you can limit it to a zip code, a city, county, a state, or a country. Or of course you can have multiple. So if you want to serve 3 counties, you can say only show my ad in these 3. So that's the basic premise of geo-targeting. And you can do that when you're in the process of setting up an ad. Sometimes it might be hidden under an advanced tab when you're creating the ad, because it's by default, they kind of assume, well, we'll just show your ad to everybody everywhere. But if you want to geo-target it, depending on the platform, you might find that under the advanced section.
Can you elaborate on Google Ads keyword pricing?
Yes. So as I mentioned, when you run an ad, it's pay per click. You only pay when somebody clicks on it. And the amount you pay varies. Is on a scale, and I see between 20, 60 or 70 cents as for what you pay for every click. It is based on your industry. So if you're selling something that's really high value, typically the ads cost more. If you're selling very cheap items, typically the ads cost a bit less. So the keywords that somebody searches for, again, is what the product they're looking for. So you'll see as you set up your ad, they're going to probably have a range. They'll say, we think it'll be between 35 and 45 cents a click. And they're using the data, Facebook or Google is using the data based on what other ads selling this type of product with these type of keywords are paying per click. And so they set kind of that baseline default, and you can bid more if you want. And again, sometimes the bid more is under an advanced tab because they don't want to make it too complicated for people to create ads. It's a very streamlined process. They want you to be able to create your ad and pay them money right away. But if you want to tinker with those more advanced details, sometimes they're under an advanced section.
Let's see. Do we have any other questions? I think so far we've covered it. Someone did ask if you can help. Let me see if I can pull it back up. Let's see. Do you provide consultation to preview a business web page or feedback? I'll let you handle that, but then they go on to ask about SBDC, and I've dropped that link, and it's been dropped. Actually, I'll drop it into the chat right now, but I'll let you address if you can help, Cameron.
Oh, sure. Yes, so you can reach out to me, and I can try to answer your questions. We can see if I have the skills, or I can recommend another service provider, an expert in that area who could help you. So feel free to email help@virginiasbdc.org, and you can just mention you came to today's presentation, and you can just have your question there, and that message will get sent to me, and I'll be able to follow up with you directly.
Absolutely. Okay, let's see. Is there a difference between marketing in Facebook in general and marketing on Facebook Marketplace?
Yes, that's an interesting question. Facebook Marketplace, I cover in detail in a different presentation about e-commerce platforms. Well, there's some differences. So Facebook Marketplace is generally kind of a Shopify or an Etsy equivalent. It's like almost like Amazon, where people go to search for and buy products. So if you're there, you're just listing products, right? You don't have a website. You're not really doing SEO on your website because you just have a product listing on Facebook Marketplace. So the way you advertise there is you basically pay to have your product promoted to the top of the list, right? You see this on Amazon, the sponsored products. It's like you run an ad. If you're running an ad just on Facebook, normally you can do different types of ads. You can do a reel, which shows different images or videos. So an ad on Facebook Marketplaces is just to sell a product, whereas an ad and a presence on Facebook is to engage with your target customer. It's to have conversations with them. It's to educate them about your product, and then hopefully they buy it later. So those are the differences, right? One's a pure e-commerce selling platform. The other is a social media network. And if you're launching a business and you're looking for maybe just some quick sales, then Facebook Marketplace is probably the best. But if you're looking to have a long-term approach to your marketing, you want to build a loyal following, then you have to do that on Facebook with, regular posts and regular interactions with people.
Do we have any other questions? We have 7 minutes left to pick Cameron's brain. And while we're waiting, Cameron, if you have some final words of wisdom, I'll let you.
Well, I think that there's some great questions, and obviously there's a lot of detail on this topic. So I encourage you all to, if you're first time at this, to just start with what seems the most approachable to you right now. And of course, follow up with an advisor through the SBDC or another expert if you have more questions, because it's always good to have someone who's been through this before, helping to advise you and see how you're doing and answer your questions.
Fabulous. We had another question drop in. Does it make sense to hire someone to manage your social media marketing if you are a small business?
That's a tricky one to answer. I know it seems tempting because a small business owner is very pressed for time, and this seems like a huge time sink, and it is time intensive to do it right, generally speaking. But the problem I see business owners find is that no marketing expert or consultant knows their business as well as they do. So the issue is, well, they might know how to price a Google ad, but they don't know about your business. So there's often a disconnect. You're the business expert. They know about some marketing tactics. I recommend business owners try to do it themselves. You generally have better results. If you've got the time to spend to learn, use some of these tools and to try some tactics and test your own theories, you're also then not paying somebody else, so you can use that money and actually put it towards an ad, right, that you're directly managing. You generally have better results because you know your market, you know your product, and you're essentially never going to teach a marketing expert that stuff as much as you already know it. So that's usually where people find that they're unsatisfied by hiring an external marketing company.
Okay, we have 5 minutes, so I'm going to put out last call for questions. See if we get anything, and if not, we got a thank you. So thanks, Cameron. I agree. Let's see. We do have a question. Do you find writing a weekly blog to build engagement is effective? This person says they started it 4 weeks ago. It seems to be driving more people to the site as people subscribe more.
Yes, I think blogs, and generally the more content you can write, the better, because it gives you more opportunities to get people with different search terms finding that blog and coming to your website. So the more words, the better. Of course, it has to be relevant. So you don't want people to bounce off that blog post, that leave before finishing it. That'll look bad for your SEO. But if it's a good blog post and people read it to the end and they spend 30 seconds or a minute on the page, that's good. It's just only helpful. So if you have the time, I think blog posts and social media posts for the same reason are just generally helpful.
Okay, I think I'm going to wrap us up. Cameron, thank you as always. Fabulous information. Thank you to all who attended, who joined us today. As a reminder, you're going to receive an email with a link to the recording and the slides. If you would like to sign up for upcoming webinars or access recorded webinars, please visit virginiasbdc.org/training. You can sign up for a free and confidential session, advising session by emailing help@virginiasbdc.org or via our website. And we do hope to see you all at our next session. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.